Well, this Dallas team, they're going to probably come in desperate, right? I mean, and you can bury them with a win, more or less.
We desperate too. We trying to get it going. We desperate too. So.
Hey y'all, today of course it's Matt Rogers on the Honorable Mention podcast. Today we're lucky enough again to have sports and culture journalist extraordinaire OJ Spivey from the Philadelphia Tribune. How you doing today, OJ?
I'm doing great, man. It's been quite a week, quite a couple weeks, but I know we'll get at it.
And thank you for making time. You were telling me a second ago you were just coming off of the Fanatics, so hopefully that'll be up and folks can be able to go check that out. I mean, there's always some insights that you're dropping. It's a different angle on this Philly sports coverage, I think. Not just as somebody who has an opportunity to talk to you pretty regularly, but just in terms of I read a lot of the stuff and I watch a lot of the stuff, and the kind of way that you come at it, folks who really go ahead and before we even get started, go ahead and give my man a follow over at OJ Philly. He's got that lockdown everywhere. So we'll start off the episode talking about Jaelen Phillips. I mean, we started off last episode talking about Jaelen Phillips and his addition, and the statistics have been not ridiculous, but he has been even more impactful, I would say, than the statistics say. But the statistics ain't bad. Got 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, including a sack, 4 QB hits, and a fumble recovery in 2 games against 2 teams from what people are saying is the toughest division in football, maybe the 2 toughest teams in what was potentially the toughest division in football this year. I mean, what do you think? I mean, just take it from there, OJ. What comes to mind for you when we talk about Jaelen Phillips and his impact?
Well, first thing is when you see him up close, we saw him play the other day, but just to see him in the locker room, I didn't realize how big he was. I mean, he just to give you a little insight. I mean, he has arms like legs for one. So, I mean, when you talk about technique. And every edge rusher, defensive end, outside linebacker, they have their moves and everything. I mean, when you're built like that, you can do a whole lot of things. And if you do like all the extras, as you think of a guy like, Aaron Donald. I know he's interior, but when you think about guys who do stuff on off the field, like martial arts, and you have that handwork and the footwork and everything, I'm pretty sure if he has added that to his repertoire, I'm sure it gives him an advantage because of how built he is. But he has all the tools. He has strength.
He's a freak.
Right. He had, yeah. What do we go back with what Howie Roseman said when he acquired him? He has freakability. So, no, I mean, it's true. It really is true. And I can see why Howie Roseman was excited because, I mean, he is really the 3rd round pick. If it keeps on this trajectory, if Phillips keeps on this trajectory,
he's getting re-signed.
They're going to have to re-sign. They're going to be forced to re-sign him one. But just on the surface, the 3rd round pick, that's a bargain.
Oh my goodness. He's playing like he played for Vic the first time, because he played well with Vic the first time in Miami. He was a 1st round pick, folks, and He's playing like it.
And this is what I asked them after the game on Sunday against Detroit. I asked him how comfortable, understanding, without it being a rhetorical question, understanding that he has played for Vic Fangio in Miami, but I still had to ask him how comfortable you are because it's a different atmosphere, different teammates, and all. Say how comfortable you are. He said, "I'm very comfortable," and again, that is resonating.
Obviously, because when you and I referencing the last episode, and folks, you could still listen to these because it's a good narrative. It gives you we paint a picture of the season.
Give a sequence, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And we were talking about he potentially playing, 20% of the snaps, 25% of the snaps, 10, 15% of the. I mean, he He barely didn't. He barely came off the field.
Barely left the field. Yeah. Well, that also goes to show you how great a shape he's in.
Right.
And again, dude looked like he doesn't have an ounce of body fat on him, right? So, and the funniest thing too, and I think this made this, and especially for those of you who follow me on Threads, also as Matt is on there too. I'm calling myself walking on tunnel, doing a little video synopsis of the game.
Okay.
And this was like probably 3-4 minutes after I talked to him in the locker room. I'm leaving the locker room on my way to the press box, and I'm, giving a summary of the game. And he incidentally photobombs me.
Oh, I saw that.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
I did.
And then I realized we're walking side by side up the tunnel to what's called the Touchdown Club. So, for those who are familiar with the link, what a Touchdown Club is, former Touchdown Club. And I'm walking side by side with him. And, I asked him off record. I mean, off record, not confidentially, but, off camera.
Yeah.
I asked him, I said, how do you like Philly so far? How the fans has been? He said, the fans have been tremendous. I love Philly. He said, I love all the restaurants. And funny as and I asked him that because I was eavesdropping, because he was talking to one of the other reporters who's trying to who was, talking restaurants with him. So obviously, some people are going to take him on to town and have him see Philly. And, we're known as a city to, win all these awards and everything. So, I mean, obviously they're going to try to take him out on the town to get to know the city more. But going back to his play, man, just beating his guys one-on-one. And the scary part of it is, it's such a shame, Matt, because of all of the drama on the other side of the ball,
Right.
that we are not talking nearly enough about how dominant this defense has been the last 2 weeks. Again, you take into account the opponents, Detroit, Green Bay. These are supposedly the NFC contenders who were threatening to be atop of the NFC, and the Eagles.
The Lions folks were the number one NFC seed. The Commanders upset them. That's why the NFC Championship ended up in Philly. They carried this
and still
through
now
at
this year, as of last week, they were averaging 31 points per game, tops in the NFL.
Come on.
And they hold them to 9 points. 9 points. And, you can even call that touchdown a fluke. It looked like it was just I know it was well-designed play, but, there was some busted coverage there as well.
Yes, it was.
So essentially, you hold them to one touchdown, one field goal, and, the focus is on the offense, but Jaelen Phillips has changed everything for them. And I don't want to miss Nakobe Dean either, because it started with him.
Lights out. Ooh.
Because he solidified that run defense, and we saw how much that run defense was leaking earlier in the season when anybody was able to run on them. But Nakobe Dean just shut it down. And you know me, Matt, I've been on Nakobe Dean since the beginning, so look out for him, because that dude can run and hit. It's just been unfortunate with the injuries. And as an Eagles fan, you just pray that he can stay healthy the rest of the season. That's another guy that they're going to have to be forced to resign as well. So, but number one, Nakobe Dean. Number two, Jaelen Phillips. And again, the scary part is with him on that line, as well as both Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis is playing. You see also Jalex Hunt getting home to the quarterback as well. We also know what
Uche.
Not so much Uche, but you see what Ujomo can do.
Oh, at the end, because he's an in between guy. Yes,
at the end, but they switch him. He's interchangeable with the DTs too. So that's the scary part, because who are you going to double team at this point?
You got to double team Jalen Carter. That's what creates. I mean, so either you're going to, because you can't double team both. So it's either you're going to give Jordan Davis a one-on-one and double team Jaelen Phillips, or you're going to have to double team Jalen Carter. You're not going to be able to double team both of them.
Well, here's I mean, a couple of plays. I mean, and then you have Nakobe Dean blitzing every now and then, right? But I go back to
in there clean when he knocked Montgomery. Folks, we talk about threads. He made Montgomery sack golf.
Yeah, and he's going to crush any running back in the league. I mean, people say that he's small, but he is strong as an ox. As an ox.
Right.
And I go back to the Green Bay game, and I think this was the game-winning play. You talk about, who do you double team? You were just talking about Carter earlier. And I don't even think it was a double team particularly, but Carter was being held on that final play where Phillips got the tackle for loss against Jacobs. I believe it was on that 4th down play. Right? Carter was he was literally in the headlock, but he was able to still get a hand on Jacobs to force him outside to Phillips, where Phillips ended up making a play. But the play started with Carter because, at this point, the only way you could stop him is to hold him, and you still couldn't stop him.
I'm going to go out on a limb, thinking, going down the exact path you're thinking. Earlier in the season, this defense was calling more blitzes than usually you see from Vic Fangio. And I think it was because he knew, like we knew, you're not going to get home with those 4, especially starting night 1 against the Cowboys. And you lose Jalen Carter before a single play from scrimmage occurs. You're not going to get home with those 4.
So. And Nolan Smith ends up getting hurt too. He's been a bonus, although he has not gotten the numbers. But I mean, it's another guy that you really have to block one-on-one, or he's going to get to the quarterback too. All right.
Well, I love Nolan Smith. I think Nolan Smith just brings a violence and an edge to the game, and it's not always going to show up in the stat sheet with Nolan Smith.
Yeah, he's going to bring it on every play. He doesn't take any plays off or anything of that nature. And like you mentioned, you interchange that with guys like Uche, and they're even bringing Jahai Campbell off the edge sometimes. So, and you see the domino effect because, again, we haven't called Adoree Jackson today about these last couple of weeks, right?
Nope.
So, I mean, it goes hand in hand. It should go without saying that if you have a good, consistent pass rush, and at this point, almost to the point of dominance these past couple of weeks, I mean, it's really going to help your cornerbacks. And even though that they may be on an island in some instances, they can hold their weight on the outside. And already, even knowing what Quinyon Mitchell can do, who's having an all-pro season.
Well, over to the offense with 10 games in and 7 games to go. The Saquon tracker is at 662. How are you feeling about that number we talked about a couple of weeks ago at 1,200?
So we got 7 games left. I think it's still attainable. We're going to learn
538. Oh, that's
we're going to learn a lot these next 2 weeks. And again, but you still have a makeshift offensive line. You still have a crippled offensive line. We don't know if Cam Jurgens practiced, but we don't know if he's going to play because he's still officially listed as questionable. As we record this, we know Fred Johnson going to be at right tackle. I'm not concerned with Fred Johnson. Maybe some people are on a full-time basis, but I'm not. Just all depends. Okay, if Cam does play, how effective can he be? And how much do you believe in Toth? Filling in, and I think he's gotten better as the weeks have gone on. But again, collectively, we still another thing that a lot of people have failed to come to grips with is that the offensive line is just not has not been as good. I mean,
No.
we went into the season knowing that okay, Saquon not going to get 2,000 yards. It's almost
Right.
like once in a lifetime, once in a
Right.
career, if that. Only 9 people
Right.
have done it in NFL history.
Right.
But it has been less than stellar and less than what we expected. And I think also too, I think maybe the Eagles were probably taken aback of how inefficient and how ineffective the offensive line's run blocking has been, because they seem to not have a plan B for it. So, but we'll know, getting back to the original point, we're going to know a lot these next 2 weeks because Dallas doesn't have a good defense. Chicago doesn't have a good defense necessarily. They're not too much better than Dallas, so to speak. So especially Dallas is back 7, so that may be more advantageous for the passing game, which I know we'll get to as well. But we're going to know a lot these next 2 weeks of when you play lesser defenses, and not that Detroit. Well, as banged up as Detroit was, they still are top. They were still a top 10 defense, right?
Yeah.
But
Good defense. And
yeah, so good. Yeah,
especially
good
in the
quality
run game.
defense.
Yeah.
Right, especially up front. So,
Mhm.
and yeah, we're gonna know a lot these next 2 weeks with lesser defenses, and I think we'll get a better pulse of what Barkley will probably end up with. But then again, also another point is Bigsby is getting more of the carries too. So
He should.
that may take away from it, but that's probably a good thing because he's been quite effective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's good for backs to have a change of pace, have a blow there, here, there. To get to so just doing the math here. So he's 538 away with 7 to go. That works out to about 77 yards. He needs 76 and some change, but it's about 77 yards.
And that's
He
quite
could do
attainable.
that.
Yeah, that's quite
attainable. But I will say, because the Eagles are probably in line to check off some things that maybe we'll get into throughout, he may need to pop a 150 in there for
he may. Because you try not to put the cart before the cart before
right.
the horse.
Right. That's what I was getting. Yeah, absolutely. But
Right.
go there. Let's go.
But if things go the way, the Eagles just continue just to win.
Good.
However,
good.
Yeah, hook or crook, right?
Right.
They could essentially, best case scenario, they could wrap up the NFC East by Black Friday.
Exactly.
On Black Friday, they could wrap up the East, and then because you would have presume that they beat Dallas, you have another NFC win victory, then another NFC win potentially against Chicago, because it's going to be interesting what Vic Fangio does with Caleb Williams. I'm already thinking ahead, but again, you could be looking at a clincher on Black, as we're cutting our sweet potato pie, our leftover, and having our leftovers.
Dallas would have to run the table. Should the Eagles beat the Cowboys, beat the Bears, Cowboys, it doesn't matter what the Cowboys do next week. If the Cowboys beat the Bears, the Eagles then have to lose out completely, and the Cowboys have to win out completely for that scenario to play out. The Eagles cannot win a single additional game at that point.
Ultimately,
or Cowboys cannot lose another game. Nobody else in the division has a chance. It's over Black Friday. If
ultimately, if Dallas handles if Eagles handle business on Sunday, Dallas can kiss the playoffs goodbye because of the tiebreaker factor.
Right.
Tiebreaker conference. You have all these other teams are five. I mean, you have 3 teams over 500 in the NFC West alone.
Oh, playoffs completely. They're gone. There's only one
Yeah.
team coming out of the East.
Right. Exactly. So Dallas is ultimately playing for their season on Sunday.
And I love what AJ Brown, AJ's gotten some interesting press. We don't have to do but so much of that here because people will certainly have heard a lot about it. I really liked his exchange with Ed Kratz, though. He was like, damn it. I'm paraphrasing, but this was not anything that people would associate, I think, with bad. He's like, damn it, we're desperate too. We're trying to get this thing going. They need to understand that Dallas is going to be desperate. They are desperate, and they always want to be, beating the Eagles to sell tickets, and that's what Jarrell wants to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a big game because it's in Dallas for one. You're playing the Cowboys and everything, so all the spotlight, the country's going to watch the game no matter what, right? But yeah, it's a big game because again, Dallas is playing for their season, and the Eagles still have, they have business to take care of, and it's another box to check off, and again, I think a lot of fans are just throwing this away, and I get it in a sense, and Eagles should take care of business, but you do have to understand that Dallas is playing for their season. But going back to what we talked about earlier with that defense, and it's so funny because it sounds amusing on the sets, but how much is Dak Prescott going to look for Jalen Carter this time around?
Ooh. I mean, Jalen's going to give it to him.
How much will he have on the swivel? How much will he have his head on the swivel?
It's
because what they say, payback is what?
Yeah. and we saw how the kind of violence that was inflicted on Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl when those guys had something to prove.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen.
So
the violence alone from Phillips is
absolutely. Oh. I mean, he's not the kind of guy who's just gonna gently just lay you down if he gets the chance. You're coming down violent because over the course of a game, football is a game of attrition. It's not about just one time I lay a stick on you one time over the middle. It's about over 3-4 times you got dragged out of bounds and all kinds of different things over the course of a game that causes that third quarter fumble.
I mean, coaches talk all the time about setting the edge, offensively and defensively. Now, from what I've seen these past 2 games, Phillips is the epitome of setting the edge. Against the run and against the pass.
I was expecting just like a pass run specialist, right? That's not been the case. He's violent.
Well, yeah, I mean, edge rushers are typecast by nature, by the nature of the position. So
he's playing the position all the way through. So I did a little bit more math. So the next thing we were going to get into is Saquon's rushing attempts this season, which are down only looking at the numbers, about 4 carries down. So he needs, in order to get to our magic number of 1,200, be about 77 a game, he needs to get about 4.4 yards per carry. So just on the math on that. So first of all, I think that's very doable. But it seems like Patullo and Jalen Hurts want to use him more in the passing game this season because his targets are almost, maybe by the time many listen to this podcast, his targets may already be past what they were last season because he's already got 28 versus 33 last year. I mean, do you think that could even ramp up more with the struggle? I mean, I don't want to say the Eagles are going to struggle without Lane Johnson because I think Fred Johnson can play. But you do have a drop-off in potentially what they're going to be able to do in the running game. Do you expect that to ramp up, or what do you think?
It's a good question because I mean, obviously, I didn't even realize, but now thinking back at all the games, you do see that they've put Barkley in, a lot of touches from the pass. Um, so I again, it's uh, it's dependent on these 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, how much can they run the ball these 2 weeks against lesser defenses? But they played lesser defenses early in the season. They still have struggled, but you take into account uh the offensive line and um the interchanges there. So I just think it's dependent. I would say that the the receptions or the targets and the passing targets will remain steady. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, he's going to surpass
Ready.
last
Oh,
year because
easily. Yeah,
he's right there,
easily.
right?
Yeah.
So, but I expect that to like. Do we have like targets per game?
Well, so we could just do the rough math. Did he play? He didn't play that 17th game last year, so he played 16. So
Right.
that's 16 and a half last or 16 and a half. So about 2 targets per game. And now he's at 2.8 through 10.
Okay, so that's closer to at least one more target per game. So yeah,
Almost a full,
so
full
yeah,
target.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I expect that to stay pretty steady.
Yeah.
Out of necessity, but it could change. So again, I know everyone, myself, my colleagues in the media, that's something they're going to watch closely these next 2 weeks because I think that's going to tell us a lot of how can this offense get in the funk. But then again, you have the caveat that they have struggled. Um, they have struggled running the ball all season long.
Absolutely. I mean, I am sick. And the one thing I do want to, and I don't like the whole ragging on Patullo per se, like always finding the judge, jury, and executioner. We always talk about that. I do think that there's always this goal of finding who the culprit, the reason that the Eagles aren't achieving their goal. And but the one thing I do wish I would see more of is you can get the ball quickly, like on these coward draws on third down, these third and long, just run third and 11, just run a draw and just forfeit the drive. I
You
mean,
think you think that's more Nick intervening though, as far as the whole protecting the football thing?
and that's what I absolutely. So I appreciate the question. So yes,
Yes.
and I think you could just, I think you could achieve the same goal. However, throw that little screen. I mean, into the flat, like the way that McNabb got free completions to Westbrook
You know
all the
what?
time.
I agree. I agree with you, Matt,
Gross.
because because essentially worst come to worst, what are you going to get? No gain
No gain.
as opposed
If he
as
doesn't
opposed to
catch
two to
it,
three
it's
yard.
incomplete pass. Make sure it goes
Right.
forward.
So we're just talking basics now, right? So, but I agree with you. So if you're going to do a draw again, it's a bit of a surrender. But then again, you see a lot of teams
Oh, hit
calling
it.
that
Saquon
screen.
hit it against the
Yeah,
Jags last year.
right,
But
right. So yeah, why
but not
not?
if you're doing it every time on third and long. Not
Yeah, not every
if
time. Not every time. I mean, I I think we will all agree that's not fun for anybody to see because even though we have to be like church mice in the press box, I think
right.
you even hear the
It's like
moans of
a
girls like,
slow
oh yeah,
groan.
they
Yeah.
call that. It's like scratch your head. You could even you could even see each other raising their eyebrow. So
And none of the way the Eagles play football, none of these games are blowouts. So right, you're doing this
right.
on every possession basically is very important. Not like no possessions are throwaway possessions, but it's like you're putting the ball away, the other team's down a field goal
Yeah.
off
Why
the
not?
30.
Why not at this point? Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you.
Throw a little screen out there. Maybe bring Bigsby and Saquon out there. Maybe do something interesting off of that. There's way to achieve what you're trying to do with the. I get the safety and not doing anything stupid, trying to push it. A big go chunk play and always do that, but. It's the draw every time. Not every time. I'm saying 75% of the time, at least.
Offensive philosophy is always a interesting conversation, no matter where you stand. And I just think overall, people talk, okay, what is wrong? Okay, who do we blame? I go back to what I've even said before, even with all the success. It's about design for me. It's about design. It's about ingenuity. People say creativity. I say ingenuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Design, ingenuity. And again, one thing I wrote the previous week is, and that's where I focused my column on AJ more so, to the problems is who are the good offensive minds? Who are the good, innovative offensive minds in that building, right? For one, then I go back to, we've talked about before, my one major criticism of Sirianni is that I've never thought of him, and I still don't, as a great offensive mind.
No.
I know he has some good ideas, but I do think that's his Achilles heel. But again, it's hard to argue with the results. But the best offensive minds they've had in the building the last 5 years have been Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen.
They keep getting people hired. You do got to give them that too. We all do. They have to give them that.
I give that to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So not that he needs the money, but they both Shane and both Kellen should be sending him and his wife a bottle of Dom Perignon,
what do they call
Christmas.
The royalties? When people are on a TV show, they get the check 20 years later.
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to be 3 cents. 27 cents, as some actors have said. But again, it goes to me, I think design and ingenuity is very critical. And you have good offensive minds around the league who have not won, but they have better design. And you know what the typical Eagles fan will do? They'll watch. You look at the Thursday night game with Buffalo and Houston. The one touchdown that Buffalo ran, that was great design. And what was it, the 4th and 27 where they almost won the game before Josh Allen threw it away. They say no one has a play for 4th and 3rd and a mile, 4th in the next county.
They did.
They did, right? And that's design. That's ingenuity. That's innovation. It goes back, and I think I mentioned this before, back quickly. I stumbled across 49ers podcast. And this is even months later after the Super Bowl, but these guys had recorded it. I think the night after the Super Bowl, or the day after, and they were just so pissed off and just so confused and just so flabbergasted that a coach like Nick Sirianni won a Super Bowl before Kyle Shanahan, and I could not stop laughing because I get it in a sense, because we put Sean McVay won one, so he doesn't even apply. But you put someone like Kyle Shanahan, who's had a couple cracks at it, right, but couldn't get over the hump. Okay, well, what was the difference? Did he have a quarterback?
But see, that's something that I found. He
tried it with 2 different quarterbacks and still couldn't get it done.
There's something to be said, and that's why we all have to. He's unquestionable in the city of Philadelphia and in football circles, because there's something to be said about knowing how to make people work well together. Like there's a difference between having what you come in and show me on your resume is one thing, and that matters. What you're proficient in, what you've got the certifications in, what you got your masters and all of these different things in. But there's something to be said about somebody just has that spark. And you know that in my line of work, what I do professionally, that matters versus what you can show me on a resume.
Right. Exactly. It goes well beyond that. And the relationship that he has with his players, they will, the old cliche, run through a brick wall for him. But every time you talk to the players in the locker room, especially offensively, they talk about the details. They talk about the things that you don't need talent to execute.
Mm-hmm.
They all echo that. That's all from the mouth of Nick Sirianni, and they echo that throughout the locker room every time I talk to them. So obviously that has been ingrained in their everyday activity.
You go look at NFL, a little Google thing, because I know people moving around and doing stuff and setting different stuff while you listen to podcasts just for yourself, so we don't have to belabor, because I know OJ knows the answer to this question. But just go ahead and Google NFL coach winning percentage and just find what that looks like for the people. It's a short list.
And even Eagles fans scratch their head. I mean, and it's perplexing for a lot of people. And I said, okay, you don't have this sustained amount of success for 4 and 5 years if you're not doing something right. For what he lacks in offensive innovation, he makes up in all the other things that makes a head coach. And I remember, our good guy, excellent writer, Tim McManus, he asked the one off season after 2023, what do you do here? And I was mad at Sirianni for that answer. I didn't necessarily like the question, but Tim's he's a consummate pro and almost never, over exerts as far as questions and his work and everything. But I thought what Sirianni did, and I know he was under tremendous pressure at the time, and maybe he was on the cusp of getting fired or something at that time, because that was the press conference where they were announced that they didn't even announce it. They just had a press conference. Like it says, okay, well, he wasn't getting fired, and there was no inkling from us that he was ever going to get fired or his job was in jeopardy. But I digress. But what he should have answered was, I am a great leader of men.
Yep.
That's what he should have answered.
My son will be 5 soon. The next time the Eagles...
He don't know anything but success, man. He's spoiled right there.
The next time the Eagles go 500 will be the first time of his life.
Right.
The next time the Eagles go, they have not gone 500 in his life.
You know what, Matt? I may post this thing. Okay. How old is your youngest child? 5 years old? He or she has not even experienced a losing Eagles team.
They haven't seen the Eagles not be in the playoffs. Every time. A bad season. The bad seasons, y'all.
That's the argument.
That's the bad seasons.
Right, argument over. Debate over.
The bad seasons, y'all. We go to Tampa Bay and we lose in the first round. That's the nightmare, and it's not fun, because that's the time or they go to the Super Bowl. They've got 2 Super Bowls and 2 times in Tampa Bay taking the L.
Right. And again, it just reminds me when I, had agreed to sit down with Mike Quick, and I re-quoted him just for this weekend's column. He told me, early 80s, mid 80s, of how bad they were, and he was a perennial Pro Bowl receiver, injuries and all. And he was just saying, hey, we weren't very good. And by the time they got good, he was on his way out because injuries that took a toll on his season. And people are older than me, my older cousins, my my late father and everything. I mean, they lived to see, he wasn't even an Eagles fan, but he lived to see 2-12 seasons. He remembers 2-12 from, if you are a seasoned citizen from 1961 through 1977, that was the drought. 1961.
That's pre-Jaworski?
Pre-Jaworski.
Okay.
Right. So that's after Chuck Bednarik, 1960, when they last won, 1961, 1977. So
that was the desert. That was the Sahara Desert for Eagles fans.
This is why when Nick Foles and the crew and Brandon Graham, they finally brought it home. This is why people went to the cemetery. It was for those people.
Yeah.
That's why fans went to say it was for those people. It was for their late parents, their late grandparents who took them to Franklin Field, who took them to the vet. All those things. So this is why when I wrote the column, and I know we'll get to other things, but when I wrote the column that the disrespect of Jalen Hurts has to cease because he is the constant through all he is the glue that keeps it all together. Again, and this is even what people criticize, Nick Sirianni's coaching philosophy or lack thereof, or what they perceive as lack thereof. Jalen Hurts is keeping all this glue together, even what's going on with him and AJ. He's keeping all of this together, as ugly as it looks, if you want to call it ugly, as unorthodox as it looks. I would say unconventional. And there's nothing wrong with that. And another thing that I wrote is winning comes in all shapes, sizes, and packages. And for some reason, maybe biases, maybe bigotry, whatever, or the fact that you just want pure entertainment. You perhaps want pure entertainment over winning, which some people have actually admitted. I mean, somebody told me the other day that talk show host says, put winning aside.
Oh, yes.
And they go on to some rant.
Today on many people radio that I check in, there were people on there who said that they would take a loss they would take a loss to the Cowboys this Sunday and the Eagles score 40 points. Then
to the Cowboys of all people, the hated the hated wretched America's team, you would take a loss against that in order to get 40 points. I mean,
breathing life into that team while the Eagles have everything to gain right now.
They might as well become a Cincinnati Bengals fan. I mean, you can get old man Flacco to put up 40 for you if that's what you want.
I mean, folks, seriously, I seen 40. I saw Chip Kelly put up 40. I was at the Bears game when Chip Kelly and them put up 50. It didn't make of anything.
It's the worst possible thing.
Nothing came of it.
Here, and I take this back to, I'm a tie in baseball a little bit. The worst thing that could possibly happen was the Eagles scoring 95 points in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. I mean, they even set a record. I think, what was it, 145 points in the playoffs. But the NFC Championship and the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, scoring 95 points. That's the worst thing that could ever happen, because people say, yeah, that is the pinnacle. That is the potential of this offense, right? Not realistic. Okay. And here's where I tie in baseball, and I go back to another player who was underappreciated in the city, and still to this day, Ryan Howard. Mm-hmm. He was so good, so fast, that people expected that every year. Mm-hmm. when he became
58
rookie of
every
the year.
year. But when you
Became
got
rookie of the year.
53, oh, he had a bad year.
Yeah.
In a down year.
Their World Series year, their World Series championship,
08.
2008.
Yeah.
He had 47 home runs and I think 137 RBIs.
Oof.
And people were on his ass about his 251 average. Take that to present day, man. People were either lobbying hard for Kyle Schwarber to become the MVP over Shohei Ohtani.
Absolutely.
And what was his best batting average these last 3 years?
Well, 220 something.
Yeah, it might have been a little better this year, but I know it wasn't 250.
He had a good one this
251.
year, but he was in the 240s. I gotta say, probably 240s.
Yeah, I know it wasn't 251.
It wasn't.
People wanted Ryan Howard. I mean, they grilled his ass for batting 251. They won the World Series.
He batted 240 this year. Last year, 248. The year before that, 197. The year before that, 218.
And I brought that up during the season, and people were like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right." I don't forget, man. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but I don't forget crap like that.
And in none of those seasons did Kyle Schwarber have 136 RBIs. Did you say?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay,
Ryan Howard had
he's
about
at this year
147, 136.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
So
Well,
might have been
it's
more.
not to say Schwarber's not a good player, but just putting in historical context what Ryan Howard was doing at that time. That's not to say Schwarber's
historical
a great player.
context of what people gripe and complain about, which is really a rational crap.
Yes.
But I take it back to the Eagles. Worst thing that could have happened was they scored 55 in the championship game and 40 in the Super Bowl. And essentially people see the potential, the pinnacle, the climax, I should say, of what the offense could be, and they expect that every game. And not to mention, I mean, Green Bay played a game a couple weeks ago against Carolina. Wasn't that like 16-13 or something? So
Green Bay, Carolina. Yes, they lost to the Panthers like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so much focus on the offense, and I get it. You want to see some rhythm, you want to see some continuity. I get those things. Those are rational, plausible requests or demands in this case. But you do have to, a rational analyst, a rational fan, you do have to have some forbearance for a 16-9 game. That happens in the National Football League.
Yeah. They're professionals.
Be a little more on the extreme, but 16-9, 16-13, 1970, those games happen.
Yeah.
Games are going to happen where one team scores under double digits. I mean, it just happened to be 2 weeks in a row, and just happens to be during a time where AJ Brown is griping about his touches. But I digress.
Well, so we're gonna play a quick game of Eagles at Cowboys over under, and the first one is actually AJ Brown, 4.5 catches. You going over or under?
Not targets, but catches.
Catches. Actually, bring it in.
I think because again, it's hard to presume that. Admittedly, it's hard to presume the way the offense has been in the last couple of weeks.
Sure,
but with the caveat,
doing the best we can.
I would think he'll get 4 receptions.
So no. So
no, you asked me to over. So you asked me to over.
Okay.
I'm a cop out and caught at a push.
He can't get a 4.5.
No,
I'm
not going to 4.5. No, I gotta. Can you
5.
can you really bet a push? Can you go to the sports book and actually bet a push?
No, no.
Is that like boxing it with the state lottery?
I haven't done boxing before. That's funny. You could bet.
I
You
gotta
could bet a
find.
tie.
I gotta find out. I mean, if you could bet a tie, you should be able to bet a push, right?
Yeah.
What do you get? Or you just hold the money that you put down if it's a push.
They're gonna keep that money. They're like, nah. Once it comes up, yeah, you don't get to win nothing if you don't put nothing down. They're not playing.
I'm not a gambler, but I need to read up on the rules anyway. But that's my cop out, man.
Okay. Well, so our magic number to get Saquon to 1,200 happens to be the number that I kind of just came up with in my mind. This is not correlated to anything that's set. I don't know what the money line is on these. These are just in my mind. These are also line up with what I believe to be keys to victory. I believe A.J. Brown, 5 catches, not targets, puts the right amount of fear in that secondary, leads to keys to victory, and happens to line up with Saquon getting that 1,200. I'm hoping he gets there. He needs to get at least 75 to get there. You think he's going to get there?
I'm gonna
Rushing.
I'm gonna take a flyer and I'm gonna say the over.
Over, okay. Because he just needs, you just have to hit one. Like they're right there on the.
And we're so used
Saquon.
and we're so spoiled to him just hitting one. We're so used to that too. And I understand as well.
Yeah. Eagles defense, 4 sacks or under 4?
Oh, I'm gonna take the over on that.
Okay. They're going to be bringing Dak to the ground.
Between Phillips, between Carter. I mean, Dak will get the ball out. He does have a good neck of getting the ball out. But I think I'm gonna go over with that one. Not much over, but I think they'll get them down at least 5 times.
Okay. They'll get 4 or 5. That's I they're going to try to make sure that Carter doesn't get to do it, but I just see it happening. Jalen Carter's going to bring him down once.
He'll bring him down once, and Phillips might get 2, and then whoever they had on the other side might get 1 also.
Nolan looking to knock the crap out of somebody. Whenever Nolan gets near a human being, he's trying to inflict violence.
Well, he's one of those crazy dudes where he feel like he got to get something out of every play, so he's always going to hit somebody.
He a crash
that's
out.
That's where you kind of worry about the injury factor, but
yes.
But yeah, he's gonna hit somebody on every play.
Yep. Between Pickens and Lamb, 175 yards catching, receiving.
So collectively, 175 yards
just between those two.
So we break that down.
That's 87. I think
I'm gonna take the under because the Eagles defense is playing so well.
Me too.
I think they'll get a few yards here and there.
They'll get near there, but I have to be under too.
I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that too. Quinyanamo Bay is at it's not at full capacity yet. We still,
right. And I mean, again, DeJean, what he brings from the slot position,
and he's playing outside in base too,
and base, right? So, I will take the under on that one.
All right, so let's check back in on the rest of the league before we let the folks go. We got checking back in on the NFC North. Last time we talked, you were feeling, I wouldn't say overly confident, but you thought that the Steelers had a good chance of holding off the Ravens. How are you feeling about that now?
Oh, I can't wait to see this game, man. Well, Aaron Rodgers is hurt, so
yeah,
this is a golden. It is coming back to the pack. The Steelers are right.
Mm-hmm.
So where Aaron Rodgers hurt, not that he was lighting up the scoreboard, but this is a golden opportunity for the Ravens. I think they're getting healthy, correct?
Yep.
And
you can
this
get
is
that defense feeling good against Mason Rudolph because he's not good.
No, he's not good. So, and if the Steelers can't run the ball, it's going to be a long day. But with the Ravens, it's always something, man. Always something is going to happen.
Yep.
A freak play, a freak turnover, a busted coverage, and all. But I like the Ravens.
What about the AFC West? You think the Broncos hold on for that? The Chargers are 2 games back right now. Chiefs ain't catching them. So, what do you think?
Well, you talk about, and I don't even know the Broncos' offensive numbers offhand, but they do a pretty good job of playing ugly too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they get production out of their receivers and all, and Bo Nix he started off very well, but he's kind of come back down to earth too.
Yep.
But again, it's one of those things where I don't think he's turned the football over at a major clip. And they're pretty similar to how the Eagles play right now. So, and the defense, they get after you. They get after the quarterback and also, yeah, I give the Broncos the edge here because of how well they play defensively. And, what was that with Herbert and the Chargers last week?
I'm awful, getting blown out. 6-35, folks. I don't know which one of y'all who listens to this show, who's a big Herbert fan, but
isn't this supposed to be a put up or shut up?
I feel sorry for you
with Herbert, with Herbert, right? Second year under, Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh's system, offensive guru, right? So, and they have a pretty steady defense, I thought, but I know they had some injuries on their offensive line too. But does he get those excuses? I mean, does Jaelen get those excuses? Someone who's already won. So, like I said, where's the balance here? I mean, that's why I do what I do, to try to, point these things out. But no, I like the Broncos because they pretty much play mistake-free football like the Eagles do.
Newsflash. They're both the number 1 seeds in their conference. Turns out letting your defense play well and not turning the football over leads to winning football games.
Is this the equivalent?
I can't even get it out without laughing because it's so stupid. Like what we're talking about.
It is. It's asinine. I mean, to for lack of a better term. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't think the Broncos have been downtrodden or at least mediocre for several years. I doubt anybody's complaining out there in the Rockies.
Come on. So in the NFC West, we got the 7-3 Bears, who the Eagles will be playing. I'll ask you about that a little bit at the end of the show, because the Eagles will be playing them on Black Friday at the link. You got the 7-3 Broncos leading the pack there at the moment by a little bit over the 6-3-1 Packers, who the Eagles beat 2 weeks ago, and the 6-4 Lions. Who you got in that one at the end holding the divisional belt?
This is the toughest one because these next few weeks, they're pretty much just going to beat each other up.
Mm-hmm.
Like going a little bit into your profession and everything. This is what they call split ticket.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to win. It's just a matter of, okay, who's going to be the underdog?
Somebody win with 38% in a 3-way race.
Exactly.
Bloody.
And
but
right now that's looking like the Bears. The question for them is, can they hold up? Because I damn sure didn't have the Bears at 7-3. Because if they win that division, you're talking coach of the year. So
rookie head coach. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So they definitely turned it around there in Chicago. This is the toughest one, Matt, because I'm not that the Bears actually look the most impressive or the most reliable we can trust because the Packers have issues. You don't know which Packer team is going to show up. The Lions, you would think, should be better than they actually are, but they're not, thanks to the Eagles, for one. I got to split the ticket and say Chicago until I'm proven otherwise.
I'm gonna reluctantly go with the Lions, despite the deficit right now. I'm looking at the Bears' schedule. I'm gonna go through their wins here for the listeners, and it's
is this the equivalent of margin of error?
So
we got to get Kornacki in here.
So they lost. They started off the season. They lost to the Vikings. They got completely shellacked by the Lions, 52-21. They beat the Cowboys. They drubbed the Cowboys. They beat the Raiders by a point. They beat the Commanders by a point. They beat the Saints. They lost to the Ravens by 2 touchdowns. They got that one, because what got me on this was thinking about that one, because on the last show we talked about that kind of fluky win that they got on the Caleb Williams dart to the tight end and just ran forever. So they got that win. Okay, 47-42 win. They beat the Giants and then they beat the Vikings. I'm not really respecting any. All wins are wins. Yeah. Talk maybe next week.
You don't like the counties that they won?
No. You must win those counties, sir. You actually underperformed in that county, in that precinct. You in trouble,
right?
Because if you're doing that in this precinct, you're in trouble.
You're saying with the Bears, you're waiting for the more populated precincts to come in.
Absolutely.
Or the more reliable precincts,
yes.
where
when that early vote gets tabulated, he's cooked.
There you go.
You might be ahead right now.
Perfect analogy. The night is still young for the Bears, just saying.
I hope you didn't pop the champagne too early. I hope you had a concession speech written.
Cautiously optimistic of the results.
Hey, I mean, they're in pole position at the moment, but it's by a little. I mean,
I can see that. That's fair.
The next one is really good too. You got the 8-2 Rams, the 7-3 Seahawks, and the persistent 7-3 49ers. My goodness,
who will be without Brandon Ayuk? Because they're supposedly parting ways as we speak. So yeah, I mean, we talked about Lil Shanny earlier, right? How he's keeping it all together.
It's crazy.
But I still like the Rams to win that division because I think they're most consistent. Your old friend Stafford.
I gotta eat my words. Stafford playing like a Hall of Famer. No, he's a Hall of Famer at this season.
I think he's going to get in, man. I think he's going to get in.
He's cooking.
So, I mean, all he needed to do was just get out of Detroit, right? But he just can't beat the Eagles, which is a good thing.
If I had to say one team was going to beat the Eagles in the playoffs, if I had to fast forward and you say somebody beats the Eagles, Matt, for you fast forward and came back and said, Matt, somebody beat the Eagles. Who was it? It's the Rams. There's nobody else who I'm saying is beat the Seahawks.
I don't think so as much now because Eagles defense is that much better.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Stafford can't.
That's what
Stafford can't. Yeah, Stafford can't move, and you're going to have to be able to move with Phillips on that edge now. You're going to have to be able to move. And where are you going to move? Are you going to step up to Carter and Davis? And we're all saying this on paper, and they're playing again.
Oh, sure, assuming health and all that good stuff. Yeah,
right. So, are you going to step up into
Davis and Carter,
and on the other side, the other Georgia Bull. So, I would love to put it this way, man. I would love to see the Rams again. But to answer your question, not that they run away with the West, but I think they're pretty secure because they already had
Absolutely.
one game up on the Seahawks,
And the Niners.
and the Niners. So I mean, they already had an edge. All they had to do is not implode, which I don't think they will.
I'm going to take underdog in this one. Weirdly, I'm going to take the odd take here. Something's telling me that the Seahawks are actually more now. I would more like for the Eagles to play the Seahawks when we get to the playoffs than the Rams, but I think that the Seahawks, I come away from that game after the game feeling more impressed with the Seahawks because they won, even though they lost the game. Granted, you always prefer to win the game than lose.
They didn't quit. Yeah, they didn't quit.
They didn't quit, and they almost beat a team who's top 3 in the conference while their quarterback threw 4 picks. So,
but I mean, essentially, will he throw 4 picks in the playoff game? Probably not. But I can't put my chips in on Sam Darnold.
No. Once the playoffs get here, he'll turn back into a pumpkin. I'm saying for the division, for the regular season, I think the Seahawks are still alive. I think they still got one more against the Rams. I think they would definitely that they're close enough that they'll probably split. I'm taking, I just for some reason I think something weird's going to happen, and it sets up better the Jared Verse to get a chance to come back to Philly. Don't want to have to get him to go run to LA after all that talk. Come take that L in 2 years.
Yeah. You know what? It is a path for them to win the division, but again, it's just hard to trust Sam Darnold on the long run. So
yeah. So what's your key to the Eagles at Cowboys?
I just think it's going to be in the trenches. How can they execute offensively? Can they get the running game going? I'm not worried about them defensively at all. I mean, do I think the Cowboys may score a few points? Possibly, maybe a couple big plays, maybe a couple big fluke plays where Dak maybe buys some time and all. But I think it's going to come down to offensive efficiency. How much can they control the ball? And the 3 and outs are concerning. We haven't really talked about that. It is concerning, but can they sustain drives and get off to a good start to where they finish and not have self-inflicted wounds like offsides, like holding, lining up wrong, all those things. Drops as well. I understand, I mean, I was there because the wind was crazy. But it's in the trenches. How much can the offensive line execute? And I think that's going to be the key. But I still believe that the Eagles will prevail. Not necessarily going to look pretty. Again, I succumb to the fact, but I'm good. I'm content with however it looks, as long as they keep winning. Because again, what the Eagles do is a great job, despite all the chatter and the noise. And I think this is a collective from the top on down now, is that they play for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I think there's some theory that some of the offensive struggles are connected to that, playing a long game.
Oh, so, I mean, that's obvious. I mean, they're going to be they're going to be run. There's more QB run coming down the pike, and then that sets everything else off. It's going to set the running game off. So there's more at the end of the line here in that.
And if that's the case, and I agree for the most part, why is everybody so upset?
Because there's got to be something to be upset about, OJ. We can't just be happy.
can't
What do
have
you
nice
mean?
things, or
No,
can't
you
receive
don't.
nice things. So
No, no. I know people aren't going to like this. I'm going to go 23-20 Eagles. It's not going to put away all the concerns and everything. It's not going to be the light show, 38 points, and they're, putting belt to ass. But 23-20 is belt to ass. I mean, you go into the another team stadium and you get the L, sweep them for the season, put them on the brink of elimination.
take them out of their misery.
I mean, obviously you always want your team to win by 2 touchdowns so you can start, peacocking around late
What
in the
is the
game. But
line? I didn't even see the line this week. It's been so much distraction.
yeah,
I don't even know the line. So like I say, I'm looking at it right now. So it
let's look
is.
at it.
Oh, Eagles still. Oh, that's on essentially a pick 'em. It's Eagles laying 3.
Eagles lay 3.5 is what
Okay, we'll go with the 3.5. So I think they cover 27-23.
Woo. 27-20. 27. There's a big difference between 23 and 27. 27 means you probably scored 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Or moved the ball. So if they get 27, that's pretty good. And yeah. But it's not going to be, I don't expect a 44-6 type blowout. But
yeah, I'm laying it on a line that they can get the matchups that they want and they execute on the outside and downfield.
And
perhaps a big game for Goddard, which I think he has really not been mentioned through all of this discord and all. So I think more than anything else, they have to do a better job of getting him free and getting him the ball.
At one point, he was leading the league in receiving touchdowns. So
yeah, already has 7. So why it's no excuse why that shouldn't go up. So
a lot of ballers on this team, a lot of opportunity.
But one
football. Any keys early on to beating the Bears, who you think may go ahead and win the NFC West or NFC North? I'm sorry.
Well, they can run the football. It's just all about making Caleb Williams uncomfortable, and he will make mistakes.
Yes, he will.
And the key is just forcing him to do that early and often, if possible. And it's supposed to be pretty cold too, but Bears playing cold weather already, so that's not going to be much of a factor. But yeah, they just have to get after Caleb Williams and force him to make mistakes early, which is possible.
Exactly. I'm on the same point. That defensive line getting after Caleb Williams. He's still a young and reckless player.
I think Vic will have a few things ready for him.
Oh yeah, you get the hard fought win, like I believe, by a possession down in Dallas. Put the Cowboys out of their misery. Get ready to party up in Philly on Black Friday. Whoop ass on Black Friday on the Bears. Everything be right. We get right for the holidays. Everybody go get ready for the holiday season. Have a holly jolly Christmas. Get your NFC East hats.
That would make my job a lot easier because it's always fun after they either clinch something in the locker room. That's always a good time. So
it is.
I'm hoping for it.
Absolutely. OJ, thank you again. And thank you all for listening. OJ, do you want to plug the latest story that you worked on? It's very good. I read it before we got on tonight.
Yeah, so basically what it is that throughout all the drama this week and the leaks coming internally, externally, all those things of frustration, there's one thing to criticize or whatever you think about Hurts. But when it gets to the point of disrespect, that's where I had to chime in, and that's what my column is all about. The disrespect is just out of control, and it has to cease.
Absolutely. Hey, enjoy the wins, folks. It won't last forever. You will be back to being able to complain about mid quarterbacks like AJ Taylor and Kevin Cobb and stuff like that. Just enjoy the winning while or don't enjoy it. I will enjoy it. So thank you all for listening.
All right, now.
Like, are you seeing signs of getting closer to that point of being a finished product?
And I think a lot of the things are internal wounds a bit, and it's about correcting those things. There's a lot of opportunities out there for us. We just got to go take advantage of them. And then I think, I've spoken on particulars and what we do, just having alignment in that, having a vision, and then going out there and establishing identity and then committing to it. I think over the course of the year, we've gone out there and played different styles of games and almost all of the games. And it's about sitting in something, committing to it, and then going out there and saying this is what we're going to do and push forward. You watch the course of the season. I watch the course of the season, and I don't think it's a capability thing.